commissioning ceremony for Chief Fire Controlman Thomas Tyler. Will the guests please rise for the arrival of the official party, remain standing for our national anthem and the invocation. All military personnel remain covered for the duration of the ceremony. Bosun side boys.
Aye, aye, Senior Chief. Side boys, right or left, face.
Center for Surface Combat Systems Unit Dam Neck arriving. Center for Surface Combat Systems arriving. Senior Chief Chevalier will now deliver the invocation.
Let us bow our heads. Giver of life and Almighty Lord our God, today we come to you with deep gratitude in our hearts for all the gifts you give to us each day. May our hearts be stirred to remember all of your mercies, which we receive through your love towards us. We have gathered today to recognize that Chief Petty Officer Thomas Tyler has the skills, knowledge, and wisdom to be promoted to the rank of Chief Warrant Officer. Let us each remind ourselves today that God, what each of us are place of blessing and prosperity. Give this man wisdom in the years to come. We ask also that you bless his wife, parents, and loved ones who are here to support him through this day. Give them your strength and grace as all together they step off into this new endeavor. In the name of our Lord and Savior, we pray to you. Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Bosun side boys.
Aye, Senior Chief. Side boys, right or left, face.
Captain Castellano, Captain Lee, family, friends, shipmates, good morning. Again, welcome to the commissioning of Chief Fire Controlman Thomas Tyler. I would like to extend a special welcome to Chief Tyler's mother, Deborah, his sister, Jennifer, and his wife, Mary Ann, and family. Chief Tyler was pinned to Chief Petty Officer in 2012. He's part of a long tradition in our Navy that separates sailors who are recognized for their leadership and their knowledge. The symbol they wear is the Chief's fouled anchor. The fouled anchor is the emblem of the rank of Chief Petty Officer of the United States Navy. Attached to the anchor is a length of chain and the letters USN. To a chief, these have noble and glorious meaning. The U stands for unity, which reminds us of cooperation, maintaining harmony, and continuity of purpose and action. The S stands for service, which reminds us of service to our God, our fellow man, and our Navy. The N stands for navigation, which reminds us to keep ourselves on a true course so that we may walk upright before God and man in our transactions with all mankind but especially with our fellow chiefs. The chain is symbolic of flexibility and reminds us of the chain of life that we forge day by day, link by link, and may be forged with honor, morality, and virtue. The anchor is emblematic of hope and glory of the fulfillment of all God's promises to our souls. The golden or precious anchor by which we must be kept steadfast in faith and encouraged to abide in our proper station amidst the storm of temptation, affliction, and persecution. Chief Tyler wears his anchors well and with great pride, representing his fraternity well. Chief Tyler, the respect that you have earned as the chief was based on the same attributes that you will carry into your leadership role as a naval officer. Have no regrets. We view your commissioning orders not as an end to an era, but as orders to a new and challenging assignment. Remember well that you have been and will always be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all maritime fraternities, that of the United States Chief Petty Officer. The commissioning ceremony you witnessed today is a reflection of rich heritage of our naval tradition and custom, and has established that this ceremony be impressive, designed to strengthen that respect for dedicated service, which is vital to any military organization. Today's ceremony will commission Chief Petty Officer Tyler to the rank of Chief Warrant Officer. Chief Warrant Officers have a rich history with our Navy. There were warrant officers on the ships of the Continental Navy during the Revolutionary War. When Congress created our Navy in 1775, it's listed that the warrant officers as the sailing masters, purser, boatswain, gunner, carpenter, sailmaker, and midshipman. Over the years, warrant officers have evolved into technical experts within their given field. The warrant officer provides our Navy with vital and invaluable form of leadership, an officer who has expertise and authority to direct the most difficult and exacting technical operation in a given occupational area. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our commanding officer for Center for Surface Combat Systems Unit Damneck, Captain John Bleak.
All right, thanks, Chief. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, welcome to the Chief Tyler's family. Welcome to Captain Castellano. Welcome to family, friends, and guests, chiefs, mess, officers. So I've done a lot of these ceremonies over the last 38 years, and I'll start with its testimony of the character that is being honored today, that is being commissioned as Chief Tyler, as a result of a Navy day off and a packed house. And so there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because as leaders, we bring people in based on the respect that we garnish. And Chief Tyler is worthy of the utmost respect from the seniors, subordinates, and across the lines to his fellow Chief Petty Officers. So for that, I think it's worthy of a round of applause to the family and to the friends and to each and every one of you for that. Chief came in and talked to me a little while ago. We've been talking about this for, I guess, just about a year now. And, he said, I don't want to have a guest speaker. Well, here I am. I'm kind of your quasi guest speaker because I'm going to talk about you. So had to be ready for that. But I'll just share a couple things, and then I'm going to turn it over to another quasi guest speaker. But I'll just share a couple things with you that I've observed over the last year, and actually almost 2 years now that the Chief's worked for me as a CO, is he is a loyal, dedicated patriot. He's a fine American. He's a family man. And for me, the thing that stands out that I notice on a daily basis is he's a fellow chief, but he's a leader. And his young petty officers that work for him and the instructors over in Tomahawk, which he teaches the Cruise Missile Tomahawk Command Course and the other Tomahawk courses in my command, is that his young sailors like to work for him. And so for that, you are a commanding officer's dream come true. And so I'm very proud to have had you work for me. You are going into be commissioned into the designator that I have served in for the last 38 years. You are going to be First Navy Ordnance Officer, Chief Warrant Officer. You're going to be a Systems Test Officer on an Aegis Destroyer in Japan, and you are going to excel. I know you will. So I offer you this. If you ever need anything, I want you to reach back to me. But when I'm in about 25 years from now, when I'm about 80, I'm in my lounge chair, I want to look back and see you retired in W5, which I know you will. So, Chief, thank you very much for everything that you've done. I'm very proud to have worked with you, and I'm honored to have served with you. You're a fine man. With that, I'd like to turn it over to my boss, Captain Castellano. And the reason that I did this, and we actually we came up with this thought this morning, is because it's a small world in the Navy, and Chief worked for Captain Castellano. So I thought it would be appropriate, because I know that the alumni from the Vela Golf is here. And so I'm going to turn it over to Captain Castellano. So, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Frank Castellano.
Thank you very much, family of soon-to-be Chief Warrant Officer Tyler. Thank you for coming, and my sailors down here at Unit Dam Neck, and then especially to the Turbo Dogs of Vela Golf. So raise your hands back there. All right. So the thing about it is you know. You look at it, as Captain Khalid said, today's the start of the Navy 96. But you look at the audience that's here on a day off, and then present and past shipmates that are here to honor Chief Tyler. So what we talked about this morning was telling sea stories, because that's the best part of knowing folks. Because when you're on sea duty together, interesting things occur. So, but with Chief Tyler, some of the memories that I have of him, as Captain Lee mentioned, he's a Tomahawk chief. Soon after I reported on board as Vela Gulf as XO, we were doing our cruise missile tactical qualification, and he helped lead the team through that, because it was a very junior team, and then into deployment throughout. But that's not the fun stories. The fun stories are the time we had to do a health and comfort inspection on Vela Gulf. I think some of you probably remember that. I know Senior Chief Brady remembers that, and so does Senior Chief Sullivan, because between Senior Sullivan, Senior Brady, and Chief Tyler, they were like my master at arms force on board the ship, What I recall was up in the forward berthing. It was actually supply berthing where we had our initial issue. But Chief Tyler was like a spider monkey. If you've ever been in a berthing on a cruiser, there it gets a little tight things. He was crawling up over racks and lockers and going behind things that I don't think anybody has been behind since like the ship was commissioned. And found a few interesting things, and I'll just leave it at that, because I'd rather not present. But it was an interesting thing, and those are the things you remember. But probably the other thing too, and this is kind of because this story spans a period of 2 years. So while we were on deployment in 2014, it was kind of late in the evening. Like I said, as I was the XO, and then I flew up to be the CO on Vela. But came back to my room, exhausted after a long day. Yeah, see, they know. And the XO stateroom on the cruiser, you've got the living quarters there, but then you have your head, your bathroom. And like I said, it was a long day, and I'm like, I need to use the restroom, use the head. And I opened the door up, and I had the red lights on and everything else. And there was a body sitting on the toilet. I just about lost it there. Took a step back, and it was like, holy curse word. Turned out, Chief Tyler and Senior Chief Brady back there got Doc's CPR dummy and put it on the head there. So, you know, I went through the range of emotions of fright, pissed offness, and then I just started laughing. But then I'm like, I need to carry this a little bit more. So I called Master Chief Nagel up, who was our command Master Chief on the ship, and said, Master Chief, you need to come up here. I need to show you something. This is just unsat. So Master Chief Nagel came in. He was like, Cap, what's wrong? I'm like, you need to look in the head. Now, granted, we had some head problems on the ship, so you know things had come up through where they're not supposed to come up, and flood things out. So Master Chief Nagel opened the door, and guess what happened with Master Chief Nagel? Same thing that happened to me. And he's like, I know who did this. So a few minutes later, sheepishly, Chief Tyler and his cohorts came back up and removed the CPR dummy. Fast forward about a year later, I got pulled off very short notice from Vela after being in command for 5 months to take command of USS Anzio. The CO on there had been fired, and it was the ship was really hurting, the crew was really hurting, and it was in the middle of the ship's Comp 2X, 2 weeks into it, and basically I got cross-decked over there to be the CO, knowing that in like less than 2 months I'm deploying with the carrier for 7, which ended up being 8-month deployment. So it was pretty tense those first few weeks on the ship. Prior to that, though, because when I was still on Vela and we were in the shipyard, we had to send some of our officers and chiefs over to other ships to help out on the Comp 2X to be part of the Red Force. So lo and behold, Chief Tyler, since he was actually one of our BVSS boarding officers, had gotten the assignment to be on the Red ship as one of the BVSS observers. So it's Anzio's turn to do a BVSS boarding, and by the way, this is chief season too, so this is just before. This is like in September, and boat goes over there, and one of my chief selects, who, let's see, is he here today?
He'd say it would be amazing.
Okay, so it was Chief Colt, so some of you may know him, he works down here now. He goes over with the boarding team. They go through their whole rigmarole, and Chief Tyler finds out, oh yeah, that's the Anzio team. Oh, hey, Captain Castellano's over there. Finds out it was Chief Select Culp at the time, and I think somewhere the term I'm not even gonna say the word, no something, male anatomy, go back and put the CPR dummy in Captain Castellano's at sea cabin. So, and I'm on the bridge on Anzio, okay, and the team comes back, blah, blah, blah. So, again, it's late at night, 2300 or so, and I go up, I go to use the head, and guess what I find in the head on Anzio? So, and I actually, and at that time, I needed it. So I appreciate that, because I knew exactly who had done it. And it was awesome. And then the Chief Select came up and they took it away. But those are the things you remember, you know. Now we're talking, 3-4 years later. Those are the memories that you keep with you through the lifetime, that lifetime of service. And I'm sure you all have, your own sea stories about Chief Tyler. But that's what makes, that's what makes this profession, for all of us to love it and stay in, to wear khakis, to get commissioned, and then to look back at 20, 30, almost 40 years of service to our Navy and nation and go, I made a difference. you're gonna continue to make a difference as a warrant officer. I was ecstatic to see that you got picked up for it. Congratulations, my friend, shipmate. Forward to serving with you.
Will the guests please rise? Military personnel, attention to award. Department of the Navy, this is to certify the Secretary of the Navy is awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Gold Star in lieu of second award, to Chief Fire Controlman, Surface Warfare, Thomas L. Tyler, Jr., United States Navy, for meritorious service while serving as N-724 Division Leading Chief Petty Officer and the Senior Instructor for Cruise Missile Division and Officer Training Branch of the Center for Surface Combat Systems Unit Damnick from March 2016 to August 2018. Chief Tyler led 31 instructors in the delivery of 18,132 hours of instruction in 10 courses, returning 817 highly skilled technicians to the fleet. He personally delivered 810 hours of instruction. Additionally, as a supply officer, he expedited repair parts for 27 casualty reports, resulting in minimal downtime in 9 laboratories. By his unswerving determination, wise judgment, and complete dedication to duty, Chief Tyler reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Given this 31st day of August 2018, J.D. Fleet Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer. Before Chief Tyler can be accepted in the officer ranks, we must bring his enlisted career to a close. At this time, Captain Bleak will discharge Chief Tyler.
My apologies. You kicked me to the curb. That's me, Chief Warrant Officer. That's right. That's why these are fun.
Honorable discharge from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. This is to certify that Chief Petty Officer Tyler was honorably discharged from the United States Navy on this day, 31 August 2018. This certificate is awarded as testimony of honest and faithful service. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Senior Chief Mathewson, Chief Tyler's wife, Mary Ann, and his mother, Deborah, please come forward. Mary Ann and Deborah will now remove the Chief Petty Officer's anchors, and Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Senior Chief Mathewson, will remove the cover of a Chief Petty Officer. Advancement in a sailor's career marks a milestone. Today we witness a transition, the commissioning of Chief Tyler from enlisted ranks to the officer ranks. As a Chief Warrant Officers are a unique part of naval service, fulfilling a role no other commissioned officer can. Warrant officers have the wisdom and technical background to perform tasks that call for the officer rank and protocol to carry out, but require the enlisted spirit and experience to accomplish. This is the heart of the Navy Mustang. Sounds like you wrote this for it too.
At least I'm consistent, right?
All right. Mary Ann and Deborah will now fix the Chief Warrant Officer collar devices, and Lieutenant Edward Souters will place the Chief Warrant Officer cover to complete the transition.
Only I'm one step myself. I don't want to do the stop. It's your day, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to share with you the meaning of a commission. Commission is more than just a polite phrase. It means just that. Commissioned officer is assumed to be a person of honor and integrity. An officer in uniform is recognized as the custodian of his country's honor and safety. The history of the United States shows that the military is most respected when it is most needed. An officer must appreciate and effectively execute his appointed position with special trust and confidence, and must earn public respect by maintaining traditional standards of honor and devotion to duty. It is truly a pleasure at this time to commission Chief Tyler to Chief Warrant Officer Tyler. Captain Bleak will now administer the oath of office and the letter of appointment from the President of the United States. Will the guests please rise? Military personnel, updated, shook. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present Chief Warrant Officer Tyler, United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. Today's ceremony has commissioned Thomas Tyler as a Chief Warrant Officer, a community also known as Mustangs. Why are they called Mustangs? It literally refers to the Mustang horse, a wild animal. Although they can be tamed and saddle broken, Mustangs always have a bit of wild streak and can unexpectedly revert to old ways. The Mustang, therefore, requires careful handling. Formerly wild and free, the Mustang tends to be wiser, more capable, and has a survival instinct than thoroughbreds. The Mustang can take care of itself when things get tough, thriving on rough treatment, while the thoroughbred, having been pampered its whole life, cannot. You can easily see the parallel between the horses and naval officers. The term Mustang is used in a complimentary sense most of the time. Limited duty officers and chief warrant officers are officers by appearance and in the minds of the top brass, but that they remain technicians at heart. The creed of the Mustang officer upon receiving their commission is, "I did it the hard way, I earned it." Lieutenant Suitors will now read the Chief Warrant Officer's transition creed.
You have this day experienced that which comes to many of us who serve as a Chief Petty Officer in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from the fraternity of the Chief in no way terminates our relationship, our regards, our obligations to service, and our fellow Chief Petty Officers. That respect you earned as the Chief was based on the same attributes that you will carry into your leadership role as a naval officer. Have no regrets. View your commissioning orders not as an end to an era, but as orders to a new, challenging assignment. Remember well that you have been and always will be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all maritime fraternities, that of United States Chief Petty Officer.
Thank you, sir. It's an honored tradition, and a brand new silver dollar is given to the first enlisted sailor who salutes him. The salute is a symbol of mutual respect and camaraderie among service personnel. Standard practice dictates that the junior person initiate the salute and then the senior person return it. By saluting first, the person is demonstrating deference to the senior rank, not inferiority to the person being saluted. The first salute is a long-standing 19th century tradition that requires newly commissioned officers to give a silver dollar to the recipient of their first salute. Navy traditions state that you have to buy your first salute and then earn every salute thereafter through your performance by gaining the respect of your subordinates. Today, naval officers paying for their first salute is considered a way to show respect for those superior enlisted personnel who held the officer chief commission status. Chief Warrant Officer Tyler will now return his first salute as a part of the Silver Dollar Salute tradition. GM1 Piper, front and center.
He's practicing.
It is also customary for a newly promoted chief warrant officer to pass down their anchors. Chief Tyler has selected FC1 Smith to receive his chief petty officer's anchors. FC1 Smith, front and center. Warrant Officer Tyler, the floor is yours.
Sir.
So first off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone from my family, everybody that had to travel to get here. Everybody that came in on the day off, I greatly appreciate it. I sit here for seconds in my head times so far. Sometimes I mess it up, I forget it, but here I am. Wayne, I wouldn't be here without you. You looked at me when we were in high school together. We just got done practicing soccer, and he was talking about how he was going to the Navy. And he looked at me and said, "Well, what else are you going to do?" What else was that? Small town, more cows than people. So I took the plunge with him. Came home, told my parents that I wanted to go in the Navy. And at that time, I can tell you, I can count on my hand twice when I've seen my father cry. Once was when my sister graduated high school, because he was very proud of that moment. And the second time was at his father's funeral. At that moment, right then and there, he started crying again. Mind you, my father did 23 years in the Navy, retired from Mass Sheet Wing. He was missing a finger. I had seen him hurt himself in more ways than once, and just shrug it off and just walk it off. So he started crying, and I thought I'd kill my father. Because I'd never seen him cry like that before, so he was really proud of my service. There's a story I want to tell behind that too. The day